It's terrifying though too. I mean, there's the enemies chase you down if they lock on.
Hi, welcome to this episode of Trash Taste. Hope you enjoyed us trying to order coffee.
We're not putting that in. That's for the Patreon. Follow us on the
You have a
Patreon.
topic gone.
No, I guess, do you feel like, because we're talking about ordering coffees now, I don't know why, but when I have hot coffee, there's like a quota of like how many hot coffees I feel comfortable having in a day. But as soon as it's hot, as soon as it's iced coffee, I'm like, oh, this is a different drink now.
Oh my God.
I don't know why. It just feels like a different drink because I never have iced coffee unless it's in the summer. And to me, it kind of feels like a smoothie or something.
I wonder if that's
That's a no from me, dog.
yeah. I maybe drinking this the water droplets from the ice, diluting it, making it taste less coffee.
To me, coffee shouldn't feel refreshing. You know, coffee to me.
A nice coffee feels too refreshing.
Yeah, a nice coffee just feels too refreshing. It's kind of
That's
like
how you
this
know.
is
That's how you know you're
Okay,
not. You're
okay.
not
This
addicted.
is literally the equivalent of being like, I'll drink a whiskey straight and I can only do so many, but when it's on ice,
no. Okay, because
I can go ham.
because in a similar fashion, to me, cocktails don't feel like alcoholic drinks a lot of the times. If a cocktail's like,
Yeah.
you know the ones I'm talking about.
I mean, the
really,
ones
like,
that taste like juice.
Yeah, the
why I
really
go
fruity
for,
ones?
Yeah, so I gotta go for the gin tonic.
Yeah.
I need that kick to remind me that I'm drinking a drink.
Yeah,
That's the most alcoholic thing you ever said.
No, because like I'll drink a cocktail and I'm like, it was a pleasant like dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so
Yeah.
sweet and
Yeah.
like you can barely taste the alcohol a lot of the time. I'm like, this is not only is the sugar bad for me.
Yeah.
The alcohol is like a double whammy. Like I'm getting fucked.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I'd rather just.
Well, I mean, that's why, like,
I'll
if
just
I
have the
want
alcohol.
to,
Yeah.
that's why, like, if I'm at a bar and I'm like, you know, we're in kind of a juicy, fruity cocktail kind of night, all right, where everyone's like drinking all the fucking
When the fuck
sweet
you
shit.
had that?
What
When the
was that
fuck you had
sentence?
I've
that?
had that a few times. Where we're just
You've
like,
never invited me out and gone.
Yeah, you never brought this up with me.
Yeah. God, I'm feeling
Yeah,
like
well,
a little
I have
juicy.
to ask. I have to ask for the fruity tooty cocktail.
yeah,
right?
you have to pen it in. It's like
Oh
this,
my
is
God.
this is a fruity cocktail.
I've
man.
never seen fruity tooty cocktail Joey in my life, Joey.
No,
What
not
the-
fruity tooty, just like fruity like
Okay.
cocktails, right? Like the sweet cocktails.
okay.
When I can, I try and double shot that shit because otherwise, it's just like juice, and I don't feel it. It's like if you drink like horoyoi the whole night, you know, where it's like I don't feel like I drank.
No, okay. With horoyoi, I still feel like I can taste the alcohol.
3%.
Okay.
Really light.
It's
alcohol
it's
drink.
fruit juice.
Okay, because here's the thing. Here's how my mind works, right? There's like sodas, there's like fruit juices, and then there's shit like beer and wine, right? Which I guess like I like the taste of beer and wine, but that like portion of like me liking that taste is different to me liking the taste of juice and something that's non-alcoholic. When you add a cocktail into the mix that doesn't taste alcoholic, my mind registers it as juice, right? But the problem is cocktails are normally like triple or double the price of a beer or a wine.
Yeah.
And I finish it like way faster.
Yeah.
You ever gone to a cocktail bar and it takes like 10 hours for like the waiter to make this like really elaborate cocktail, and then you finish it in like 1 minute because it tastes so
every time,
good.
Every time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's like, I don't know. Cocktails are not supposed to be like, you're not supposed to drink cocktails in the same way you drink a juice, in the terms of like, oh yeah, I can just get this whenever I want, so I can just fucking down it whenever I want or however fast I want, right? Like cocktails supposed to be like special, you know?
I think there should be a natural barrier. And if the fact that I can give this cocktail like a 10-year-old, and he'll be like, "Oishi desu," I'll be like, "That's a problem." That's the problem. The fact.
So
that
you want it to like taste like, bare minimum taste like alcohol.
there needs to be an indication of it that you like. At the moment, I cannot taste the alcohol. I feel like I'm something about it is like
That is true.
Yeah.
I've drank some cocktails where I'm like,
like,
if
where
I
is it?
ordered the non-alcoholic version of this, it would taste exactly the
Yeah,
same.
you're like, show me the treasure map because I
Yeah.
can't find it.
Like for me, I have a rule. If it takes longer to make the drink than it does for me to drink it, then that's not a drink I will like
Japan,
order
they always
again.
do that.
And in Japan, there's so many bars that do that where, you know,
Oh, there's that one bar that I always take people to that I think
Yeah.
you've gone to. I don't know if you've gone to. And there's those guys and they're wearing like the tuxedos.
Yeah.
And they take literally 15 minutes to make a cocktail.
What are they doing crafting the glass?
Dude, basically. And it's like this big.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing because you've been waiting for so goddamn long for a drink.
That's how they get you, bro.
You drink it in like 5 goddamn minutes. You're like, sorry, can I have another one? He's like,
That's how they get you. They're like, we'll wait until you're absolutely parched, so that when you order this cocktail and you down it, you want another one.
Yeah. I asked for
a
a glass of water, and obviously it's like a whiskey place normally.
Yeah.
So they bring out like, I don't know why. They bring out like the tiniest shots of water in like this like kind of vial. It looks like something you'd get like a medicine in an RPG.
Yeah.
And it's like max like 50 milliliters. And I'm like, what is it? Who's this for? The mice in the building? This is not going to refresh it. Give me fucking.
What is this? A water for ants?
That's the one good thing about America. I'll give them credit. You always get the stupidest, largest vessel of water. It's an incomprehensible amount of water at every single restaurant or establishment when you ask for water. It's never small. It's never like a glass. It's like, prepare for the slurp jug 5,000. 800 milliliters of straight water and ice in your veins.
Yeah.
Like you can keep a goldfish in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's one problem that Japanese bars need to fix sometimes.
It's kind of like we're looking at it though on like both ends of the spectrum. Really, it's like Japan is like way too little. America, in my opinion,
Europe gets
way
it
too
right,
much.
bro.
Yeah, Europe gets it right in the middle. I feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point being is that cocktails are nice, but I don't want to eat them a lot of the time. Sorry, drink them.
You should eat them.
I was thinking about a different point in my head. It was like how, like, I don't know why, but it makes, when I order a cocktail, it activates the same part of my brain that when I eat a brownie, and
Go on.
and then the ice cream's on the side. And I'm like, did we really need the ice cream? Like, I feel like I felt bad about ordering the brownie already because it's so fucking bad for me. And then you just did like a giant fucking scoop of vanilla on the side. And I felt like I didn't really need it. And I just, it activates the same part of my head where it's like, sugar, more, yes, please.
Yeah, but sometimes you order a brownie from a restaurant, that thing is like dry.
Yeah,
it's like drywall. Like
but that's how it's a bad brownie if I got to rely on that.
Yeah, but that's why they pair it with the fucking ice cream. So like hide that shit.
That's true.
Yeah. The only place that I actively like ordering cocktails, like this is the only place, because I just figured out now that I'm older, I'm just not a cocktail guy. Not fucking Wetherspoons. Get the fuck out, Connor.
You want a jug of woo-woo for 12 quid?
Honestly,
2 for 1
like
jugs?
like a jug for 12 quid or something, or like 2 jugs for
cheap
12
as
quid.
fuck.
It is cheap as fuck. If you want to get,
I think it's gone up now. But when we were
it's gone
there,
up.
you used to be able to get like 2 jugs as well for like 12 or something.
Damn you,
okay,
inflation.
but that's the thing. I allow those because those are like shitty enough cocktails that you can taste the alcohol.
Right.
Is it weird that I want to taste the alcohol? Not because I specifically like the taste of alcohol, but if I'm drinking this drink for the specific purpose of getting drunk, I like my brain to remind it that, you know, I am getting drunk at this point. And
I think you guys are thinking too hard to like min-max alcohol.
It's not about that. I just feel like cocktails are this weird cheat code area we figured out.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're defying the laws of nature in a weird way.
Yeah. Because
Playing God with cocktails.
It's our natural warning when we drink something with alcohol where it's like, ooh, where our body's like, no, don't drink this.
Yeah.
But we do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I need that reminder.
Yeah, because like for me, for me,
it's important.
like for me, when the only place I can order cocktails is like by a poolside or on the beach or something when it's like a nice pina colada. Because in my mind, I'm just like, oh, today's a cheat day. You know, I get to order.
You're on
dessert.
vacation mode.
I'm on vacation mode. I get to order dessert at like lunchtime.
That's the most British thing you've said.
It is I don't know if it's a British thing or if you just like, you know,
it's a cheat day, isn't it?
on the beach.
Yeah, or we're on the beach, right? But yeah, like to me, like, have you guys been recommended like these? Like, I don't know. Sometimes you go on like YouTube Shorts and there's just like a lot of cocktail videos.
I know the guy you're talking about. Yeah,
the guy who does like
The
really
Russian guy?
aesthetic looking cocktails that I've never thought that ice could just like look so pretty, and now I'm just like, oh, that ice was frozen. That's completely clear ice, no bubbles, 0 bubbles. That must have like
exactly who you're talking
you know
about.
who I'm talking about.
In Japan, they always go so hard with that.
Oh yeah,
The ice game is impeccable here.
Yeah.
It is.
You'll hear them going away at it for like 15 minutes to just perfectly
you know
make
it's
this
going to be a
rock.
good cocktail when you order a cocktail and the first thing the master does is bring out a giant block of ice and a huge knife, and you're like, oh shit,
oh, it's
Here we
happening.
go.
It's happening.
It's so nice, man. Getting cozy in. Like there's a bar I go to quite a lot whenever I want to go out to drink with people. The guy's so chill. He's so nice. Just one dude runs it, plays smooth jazz, and it's just one dude. And then one time, this is where I felt like we bonded in a weird way. I was like, hey, can I borrow your charger? And he was like, of course, bro. He gave it to me, and I was like, it's a real one. It's a real one right there.
That's real friends let you borrow their chargers.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back, baby.
In Japan, because this is like I said, there's a weird thing about people like not wanting to let people use like electrical sockets or use like electricity of a business. I don't know.
It depends.
But they're just really chill about it.
Yeah,
He was just
I feel
fuck
most
yeah.
of those like small bar places. They're
So we're
probably,
best friends now.
Yeah. I feel a lot of the small bar places they don't really care. But if it's like, you know, an establishment where it's like they're trying to make money, they're trying to make this business lucrative, then they're like, oh, I mean, you could borrow my charger and you know, put me up an extra 50 yen on my electricity bill, but you should probably order 3 cocktails first. It's like, okay, that doesn't seem fair, but
Bros
sure.
just want to drink. They just don't want to be in the...
Yeah.
They just want you to order a drink, drink it, get the fuck out.
I think it's just asking for any request that's off the script of the Japanese menu, you know.
Sure.
And I guess that's just true for a lot of establishments in Japan where
a lot of them don't have menus.
yeah.
A lot of bars are like, what do you want?
No, I mean like
bars are different.
Like
Bars are
asking for a request that's off like what they have listed in their mental checklist.
Yeah,
of
dude, if you
things
went
that
to a
customers
size
can
area
order.
and you asked like, oh, can I borrow the charger? The waitress would probably be shitting herself. Like, she's like, this is not, I did not learn what to say in this situation.
You can literally see them like socially blue screen. They're just like, oh,
once you hear the then you know this is blue screen.
Yeah. I kind of realized how much I'd forgotten. I'd like kind of like taken just like that kind of like little thing for granted until I go to a place outside of Japan. Like I remember in Australia, this was I think like last year when we were flying back or something, and I'd stayed like a few extra days to stay with family. I had booked, so we were in Melbourne, and I had booked a plane, not from Melbourne Airport, but I did not know the difference between Melbourne Airport and I think Avalon. Is that like the other? Is that the
in Melbourne?
Yeah, in
I know
Melbourne.
there's 2 airports in Melbourne.
Yeah, there's one main airport,
Yeah.
and then there's one in the fuck ton like middle of nowhere, where you have to drive like 2 hours or some shit. Like,
it's a domestic airport.
yeah, it's a domestic airport. I didn't know. I just chose an airport, right? And I didn't know that this was the shitty airport that basically only I think Jetstar or something like fly out of there. And so I didn't know that. And so what happens is I had like I had a SIM card, which was my British SIM card, so it could receive text, but the data was a little bit spotty, right?
Welcome to Australia.
Yeah, welcome to Australia. So I was in this fucking Uber, driving to this airport that was an hour out. We were like halfway there, right? And it was the only flight flying to Sydney that day. I don't know why. I thought there would be more flights flying to Sydney that day. And halfway to this airport, I get a text being like, your flight has been cancelled. And I'm like, fuck, what am I supposed to do? I'm like halfway to this airport.
Yeah.
I don't have a flight there. I know there's not going to be any other flights there. So I've just got to go back to the city. So I like tell the Uber driver, hi, I know it's really bad, but can you turn around and drop us off back, back in Melbourne, and we'll figure it out there. And he's like, sure. All you need to do is just add in a new destination on the Uber app.
Yeah.
Problem is,
You got no data.
I got no data.
Yeah.
I can make and receive calls, but I got no data.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
like welcome to the 21st century. If you don't have internet, you are fucked.
Yep.
And I'm like, shit, what can I do? So I start like fucking panicking because he's like, I cannot change the destination on my app. You have to be the one to change the destination. So I'm like, okay, let's look for a place that might have free Wi-Fi. Not forgetting that outside of major cities, Australia,
There's no internet.
Australia is a barren wasteland that has no fucking internet.
No.
So I'm trying to look for like a rest stop or something, and we're driving for like another like 10 minutes. Thankfully, we see a convenience store. I think it was like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. I'm hoping that like Australia is kind of like Japan or America, where they have public Wi-Fi at every fucking convenience store. Like public. No, they don't.
Or do they in Japan?
They do in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, they do in Japan.
Bro, I never used it.
In a lot of places. Well, you have data in Japan.
Yeah,
so-
like every parking area has like free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we pull up to the 7-Eleven and I go up to the cashier. I'm like, mate, do you have like public Wi-Fi here? And he's like,
What's Wi-Fi?
and he's like, sorry, mate. Like we don't have Wi-Fi here. And I'm like, fuck. I'm in kind of a bind right now, and like I explained my situation, and he's like, "Oh, no worries, I'll start tethering on my phone. I got data here," and I'm like, "Fucking hell, I'd forgotten what this feeling was like, being like, hey."
You forgot that people are helpful.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I'm like, hey, I'm in a bind. I know how I have a strange request right now, but do you have any public Wi-Fi? Because I'm kind of fucked if you don't. And he's like, "Don't worry, mate. I got you covered." And I'm like, shit. This has never happened to me in Japan, where I'm just in a bind and you have a request that's kind of like out of left field. Yeah. And people actually respond to that and will try to help you.
What if you just were fucking with them? He's like, hold on, I gotta like these tweets first. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So thank you, 7-Eleven person, like random 7-Eleven person in Melbourne. You saved me literally like 2 hours of my life just for being able to do that.
Why didn't you go to the normal airport? There's like a flight to Sydney every like 2 minutes.
Because when I booked it, I didn't know that there were 2 airports.
Also, why did you not ask the Uber driver if you could borrow his tethering?
I thought that's where the story was going.
That would have been faster, right?
Yeah, I thought that's where the story was going.
There was a reason why he couldn't tether, and I can't remember why.
Because he was driving?
Maybe, but I did ask him because I'm like, I tried to go through every engineering route to solve this issue, and I can't remember the reason why he couldn't tether, but yeah, he couldn't.
Just didn't feel like it.
Maybe he was an asshole.
Like,
I don't know.
No, mate.
I want the full charge for me going to this airport and going back.
Yeah,
you know?
There was because like I think it's really normal for some reason that flights between Melbourne and Sydney get cancelled or delayed.
Well, if from regular Melbourne airport, there's like a flight that leaves every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So even if it does get cancelled, it's not a big issue.
I mean, me and Kai were sitting in the like lounge waiting, and there was like 6 flights in the next like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And like half of them got cancelled.
Yeah.
And there's like no explanation why.
Yeah.
And so I think ours got pushed back, and it made my transfer really tight. Made it from like an hour and a half to like 30 minutes. And I was like, I don't really feel like risking it. And there's a flight coming up in like 40 minutes. And I was like, well, I'll just go ask if I can go on that one. And I was like, hey, can I just go on this flight? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, really? They were like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. So I went on that flight. I literally just went up and I was like, hey, I got a tight connection. Can I just go on the one that's coming up in like 20 minutes? They were like, yeah.
That would never happen in Japan.
No, fuck no, it wouldn't happen in Japan.
Never.
Like, what did your ticket say? It's just fuck no.
Yeah, it like really surprised me in Japan that you even have to like book out Shinkansen tickets. Like, and if you don't have the...
Sometimes you do. So the Shinkansen is like split up so that like the first, I think 3 carts are like free. So basically, if you buy a ticket for that day, you can go on any Shinkansen that takes you to your destination. Okay. It's just, if there's a seat, you can grab the seat. If there's no seat, you have to stand up. And then the rest of it is all, booked.
Yeah, and that's all where all the Japan rail passes. All those get those too. So you're kind of competing against people who haven't booked and also tourists.
Right.
So it's kind of tough because I think on some really busy routes, it'll be very hard to get a chair.
Yeah, sometimes last minute I've gotten those tickets, and like there's been a couple of occasions where I've had to wait like a station or two to just like wait for a seat to open up. So I'm just like chilling, standing.
I've always just gone to the machine. Yeah, and even if the train's in like 5 minutes, I'll just still get the reserve ticket.
Yeah.
Because you can just get a ticket really easily, and then.
Well, sometimes during busy times of the year, there's no
can you
reserve tickets. So.
Can you get a ticket really easily? I don't know.
Well, there's one trip up about the Shinkansen that kind of fucks people a lot, and it's not explained well at all. Is that you can buy the limited fare ticket, which is like the first part of the ticket, but then if you want to get a seat, you have to buy another ticket, and it's for some reason they allow you to buy the seat without buying the limited fare ticket. I think it's because of like the rail passes and stuff. So you can very easily accidentally buy the ticket seat, think that you have a ticket, go to the gate, and then you won't be able to get through. Yeah. And then some guy will have to awkwardly explain to you, hey, no, you got to go and buy this other ticket.
Like in actuality, you've only bought half the ticket.
Yeah. I mean, Japan train system, great. Japan train ticketing system, it is the...
booking anything in Japan sucks.
It is the Dark Souls boss of getting anywhere. Because I have missed, like, especially now that, family and friends have come around, I've now missed, like, at least 3, like, trains. Because because of the ticketing system.
Yeah.
We arrive, especially in a big group. Obviously they don't know the ticketing system. And even me, knowing the ticketing system and knowing there's a difference between like the limited express and the limited one, and sometimes you can buy one and not the other. Sometimes you just use Suica and not the other. I'm going up there and I'm like, there are some times where I'm like, I am wasting at least 15 to 20 minutes getting, especially if it's like a big group.
Yeah.
You are wasting at least like 15 to 20 minutes that you have to like factor in. And if you don't get the tickets in time, you just straight up miss the fucking train.
Yeah.
That's why if I go with a big group, I book it for everyone.
Yeah, I book it online.
I get the tickets.
Yeah.
I'll book mine on the Suica because you can book it to your Suica.
Yeah, you can book it on the
Which is
Suica.
crazy convenient because you can just be like, boop, I'm in, boys. Shee. No worries. So you can just tap in right away.
Yeah, because sometimes I remember when Sid's parents were here, I booked a train and there was a group of like, at the time it was like at least like seven of us. And getting a return ticket for a train, do you know how many fucking tickets that is?
Yeah, it's like 14 tickets.
Yeah, that's like I paid for it all at once. I got like 14 fucking tickets and the receipts, right? And we had like 10 minutes being like, okay, which one is which one's the one going out and which one's the return and whose is who?
Oh, no.
And it doesn't give you it in order either.
Yeah.
So it is a fucking nightmare getting tickets in Japan.
Well, one thing I learned about Japan, and you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong on this, you do not save any money from buying a return ticket.
No.
As opposed to buying the routes individually.
Yeah, unless it's like you're coming back or going in a really busy period. Where like, you know, because like usually during like holidays, it goes up a little bit, and like, you know, depending on availability on the train, sometimes like last minute tickets can go up a little bit. But like even then it's like an extra fucking $10-20.
Yeah, so I've
at most.
I mean, again, I could be wrong on that, but so I always book the train going out, and then coming back, I just rock up and I just buy the ticket when I get there. It's just like I don't want to deal with, oh no, my shoot overran, or I finished early or whatever. I'm just like, I'd rather just leave when I want to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love the trains. Trains, man.
Trains are great as long as I don't have to deal with the ticket machine. If I don't have to deal with the ticket machine, normally it's a very, very good experience.
Well, it's either that or the airport.
I like the UK trains though too. I like the open return.
I do.
It's great. You can just get a ticket, open return. You take whatever fucking train you want, and then you have 1 month.
The moment you said that, God like looked over at me.
Listen. It's not great, but I think the open return is fucking sick.
It's a small thing.
Because the one thing about the Shinkansen, which you have to appreciate, is that it's ungodly expensive.
Yeah,
it is
very expensive.
Sometimes it's more expensive than taking a flight.
Normally always.
Yeah, normally always, but that you have the convenience of not having to travel all the way to a fucking airport and go through all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like a one-way ticket to Kyoto or Osaka is normally $100.
Yeah, at most.
And normally you can get return flights for less than that if you want to. But I mean, Osaka, you should always take the bullet train. But like, if you're going beyond Osaka or beyond north of Japan, you're pretty just better off flying.
Yeah.
Like fucking Chris, one time we were going to Sapporo for a video, and Chris was hell bent on taking the train there, and I was like, why you want to take the train? He's like, I just think it would be much more enjoyable. We can get more work done. And for some reason, I let him convince me into doing it. And I was like, this is some fucking shit. 4.5 hour train that was ungodly expensive to Hakodate. And then we had to wait around for an hour. And then another hour and a half train to
Mind you
Sapporo.
guys, the Shinkansen does not go to Sapporo. There's like a huge distance between Sapporo and the last stop.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the fucking flight, we can go to Haneda, hour flight.
Yeah.
It's like $200 each way.
I can't believe Chris kept managed to convince you.
I can't believe he convinced me. He was pretty adamant about it, and I was like, all right, fine. And then I did it once now, and I've constantly told him that I'm never ever doing that ever again.
No.
Yeah.
The only time that Shinkansen is worth it is if you're actually going to Hakodate.
Hakodate's chill because you can get like the one thing I always tell people to experience if they want to splurge a little bit, because it's by far the best route to do it. Because the trains in Japan, they're run by two different companies. One that goes west towards like Osaka, Kyoto, and the one that goes north, but they're not called north and west. It's split.
It's the JR East, JR West.
But the Shinkansens they use are different in each area. So they're like, I think Kyushu has one or two Shinkansens that they're like their own version. There's not much difference. But the north one, they have the Grand class,
Right.
which is like really bougie and fancy. And you pay like an extra $100, but you get like your own server on the train and drinks and stuff. So
So basically business class of Shinkansen.
pretty much. So when Ludwig and some of the Yard Boys came, was like, yeah, you should try it because we're going to Haggle that day.
Yeah.
Well, we may as well try it. We basically had the whole cart to ourselves, and you get the food and it's drink, and it was nice. It was good. I just forgot my headphones, so it's 4.5 hours
of silence. I can't believe I have to talk to my friends.
No. They all had headphones. I didn't.
Have fun in your silent solace. We're gonna listen to.
You did the equivalent of forgetting to bring your phone when you're about to take a shit. You know? It's just
like, what do I do now?
What do I do with my life?
So
I don't know.
That was. I mean, it was great, but I if you want to splurge a bit of money, you just get it one way. It's a fun experience to try, and the chairs are very nice.
This episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like writing an important report and forgetting to hit save. Have you ever had that?
I hate when that happens.
Most of the time, you'll probably be fine. But what if one day your computer freezes or crashes and all your hard work is gone?
Oh my God.
For us, absolute nightmare. You bring me back, Joey. Oh my God. That's why we use ExpressVPN.
Every time you connect to an unencrypted network, cafes, hotel, airports, any hacker on the same network can gain access to your personal data, be that passwords or financial data.
And we're on tour right now, so that would be awful.
We have to connect to a lot of different hotel routers and Wi-Fi networks, and a lot of those aren't safe most of the time.
And it doesn't take much technical knowledge to hack someone. Just some cheap hardware is needed. A smart 12-year-old could do it.
Even Connor could do it.
I could do it.
Even Joey could do it.
And don't forget that your data is valuable. Hackers can make up to $1,000 per person selling personal info on the dark web.
Scary.
ExpressVPN uses an encrypted tunnel to create secure encrypted tunnels between your device and the internet, making it so that hackers can't steal your sensitive data, and it's super secure as well, guys.
So secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/trashtaste. That's expressvpn.com/trashtaste, and you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/trashtaste.
Back to the episode.
Have you ever been on any of those like fancy trains in Japan?
Dude,
Well, you went on the sleeper train, right?
Yeah. How's the sleeper train?
That's not fucking fancy. Shit.
It's a bed.
It's shit. It's not worth it.
What was better, the tour bus or the sleeper train?
Tour bus, 100%.
Oh, are you serious?
No doubt. Bro, you have to bear in mind, like the sleeper train, the worst part about the sleeper train is that at least the one I got, I could have chose a better route, but it was first of all impossible to book.
Yeah,
impossible. You cannot fathom how shit this website is. This is the single shittest website I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
It does not work flat out. And then I had to get 2 Japanese people to help me figure out this goddamn website, and it took all 3 of us fucking around on this website, trying different inputs to get this thing to work, because if you put one wrong input, you have to go all the way back. You can't press the back button. You have to restart all the inputs, type the station. You have to say the exact time you want. So you can't look at all the trains. You have to put a time in, and if there's not a train at that time, nothing will show up. It won't say, hey, by the way, in 2 hours there's another train, which is insanity. It's insane.
So you just have to know what time the train is.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's all booked out constantly because train otakus in Japan run it. They run the show. You don't have a chance of competing against them.
Sure.
And then, so it will tell you like, hey, there's free carts in this train on this website, and you click it, and then you open it and it'll say there's no carts. And you're like, what? And it'll be like luxury, normal, standard. And then it'll say like all sold out. But then you click on like the X where it says it's all sold out, and you open a drop-down menu and it'll be like, oh, but there is 2. And it's like, what? This is psychotic. This doesn't make any sense. So I went into it with like that, knowing I had to go through all that just to get on the train.
Yeah.
And then you get on the train, and we got on at like 11 p.m. And then at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., they start just blasting the announcements of all the stations.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to get any sleep. And, you got to get off the train at like 8.
Yeah.
So you're on this train at 11. Ideally, you're not shooting a video like we were and you're in bed right away. But even then, it's small, it's cramped, it's kind of hot and stuffy.
Right.
The bus was way better.
That was air conditioned. Got my own.
I will say the one really, really cool thing about the sleeper train, and it is the best part about it, is that like just lying down and like waking up and then having this awesome window you can just watch through is really cool for like the 2 hours of sunlight you get.
Yeah, I can understand why there is kind of like a train culture in Japan. Like not just like, train culture.
I'll take my coffee, by the way.
Okay, we'll take the coffees now.
Keep going.
Give me my desserts.
But they arrived and I just wanted to fuck around and find out.
I ordered
mocha?
the oats milk one, right?
Don't worry, guys. They're cold. They're not gonna.
This doesn't count.
I just wanted to
this doesn't count towards one of the coffees I'm drinking, even though it definitely is a coffee. But no, like I've only had like, I would say I wouldn't call it like a positive train experience, but like I kind of like a aha moment where train rides can be really like kind of like a really cool experience. And the only time I've had that is in Japan. Because to me, like trains have always been kind of like cars. They're like a tool to get me from point A to point B.
Also, I mean, going from Brighton to London was one of the somehow shittest journeys I've ever done.
Oh, it's fucking shit.
So I think that also doesn't help the fact that you had to always do that.
Yeah.
That was a terrible journey.
Yeah.
I don't like that train.
Yeah. But, you know, me and Sydney had a little bit of like a vacation in like the Izu prefecture recently. And to get to the Izu prefecture, we use the train, and the train goes all around the coastline of southern Japan, and it is the most beautiful train ride I've like.
Is that the romance car?
That is not the romance car goes to.
Oh no, that goes to Hakone, doesn't
Hakone.
it?
Yeah, the romance car
Kyushu's
goes.
got loads of that too.
Yeah,
because all the trains go on the outskirts.
Yeah, and like it happened to be like a fucking beautiful day in the summer, not the summer, in spring before it was like too fucking hot. And you just saw like the mountains and the seaside, and I'm like, holy shit, this is so fucking beautiful. And I get to experience this just like going from point A to point B, you know. I'm like, and then it was on this train ride that we saw this fucking Hogwarts-esque looking train on the train track go past us, and we're like, what the fuck is that? I've forgotten what it's called, but there is like a specific train.
An SL?
Sorry?
An SL?
What's
Isn't
an SL?
Like the fucking steam line or something. Like it's the steam trains, right?
There's a few luxury trains. Right?
Yeah. It's kind of
we're trying to get on them. It's impossible.
Yeah. It's kind of like one of these like luxury trains. It looks like it's like come straight out of Hogwarts. It doesn't look like any of like the modern trains that you see. And we just saw like a bunch of people just having a meal, and just it's kind of like those old like railway trains you see in like the like early America. Where you know oil tycoon type people just sit down and just like be served a high class meal and stuff like that.
Slave, get me another meal, please.
But I didn't know those services exist in Japan, and we looked into it, and there are a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton.
There's one in Hokkaido that Chris went on Journey Across Japan, and it was just one train that runs for that day across like the central Hokkaido, and the seats are fucking impossible to get. From the outside, it straight up just looks like a Hogwarts train.
You, like people always are like, oh man, I want to go on this train. I'm like, good luck. You can't compete against these train otakus. They again, like I said, they run it.
They run it.
They know more than you. They care more than you. They're on the website. They know exactly when it's going up. You are not out competing these guys. I Lord knows I've goddamn tried. I've been trying to get tickets to go on the Kyushu one for ages. And I just, not only is that website, again, terrible and impossible to navigate.
Maybe that's the barrier, you know?
It is, but like, I got a friend to call them up, and they were like, yeah, we will release information about tickets soon. Didn't say when. Didn't say shit. Of course, the train attackers know when it's going up. Somehow they always know because they got like friends and they're telling each other.
They got like a newsletter going.
It's like the inner circle.
I'm like, I can't. It's unfair. Let me ride the goddamn train. I want to go on the 7 stars in Kyushu.
You're not a train otaku.
I'm not.
You're not fit for it,
dude. I realized that like that built this because presumably the sleeper train. There's like multiple every day, and we were at one at like 11:50 p.m. and it was like the paparazzi came out to watch these 2 trains dock. It's crazy. There was like 40 people with DSLRs going like, they're watching these 2 trains just like dock like this, and then everyone's like, oh. And then
a couple of them definitely nutted when they saw that. It's like,
This was Dojin to them, you know.
It's like, I don't need porn. I just need to see these 2 trains dock.
It was bizarre. And I remember watching a YouTube video in Japan about this. I think it was 7 stars in Kyushu as well. And there's just a guy who had he made his own fan club for the train.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
What?
Did a mozzie bite me on the lip?
Yeah.
For fuck's
Wait,
sake!
did it just happen?
Yeah. This just happened. I've been scratching it, and I'm like, why has a bump just appeared on my lip? I don't think it was there at the beginning of this episode. We can check the footage.
I think it's just been forming. I haven't noticed it.
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
That's going to be there the whole episode.
This guy had made a 1-person fan club for like this train.
Wait, what?
And
One person?
Well, I think he would rock up to every time the train would leave.
Yeah.
I just had a rubber band that flew somewhere.
It's right there.
He made it so he would turn up every single time the train departed with like a banner and stuff and be there. And I'm like,
Saying like train fan club. It's just him.
and I'm like, man, I wish I got that much joy from just seeing a train.
I wish.
I'm always so fascinated.
I'm so
with
jealous.
That world.
I'm
Like,
so jealous of them.
yeah, I've always just been curious.
I want to get into something. You know, I feel like it's cool to have like one weird kind of like passion and hobby that you just like, I don't know.
I just don't know how, and I wish I knew the mechanics of the brain of how the joy works there. Like how does
That's what I wanna know.
How does just seeing?
Well, it's
how
like-
does seeing this train leave the station every time just make you happy?
Well, yeah,
I want to know.
But those same guys are probably looking at us, you know, shitting ourselves to the Chainsaw Man trailer and being like, "What's there to get excited?"
yeah, or
about?
maybe they think like going out drinking. That's so weird. Why
Yeah,
the
what
fuck
the
would you do
fuck?
that?
Yeah.
I understand that.
Did you never go through a train phase when
Fuck
you
no.
were like a kid?
Yeah, I did.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Everyone
Why the fuck-
loves trains as
Yeah.
a kid. Are you kidding me?
I had like
Why the fuck would I love trains?
I had like a PC game that my uncle bought me, and it came
you
with
had
like
Pokemon, right? You guys had Pokemon.
yeah.
How the fuck could trains compete
This is
with
No,
Pokemon?
this is before
This
I
is
started playing
pre-Pokemon.
Yeah.
This is before, like, I had just gotten like like image permanence or like
Yeah.
whatever there's
I
called.
was like
you
2
know?
or 3.
Yeah.
How the fuck you remember anything from that? No way you remember 2 or 3 year old memories.
I remember my dad or mom
I
had
remember
this like
shit before I was, like,
PC
8.
game,
Yeah.
and it was like a train like Shinkansen simulator game.
Yeah.
that came with like a periphery of like the controls for
that's super
the
jacked.
train. And I remember playing that as like a 2 or 3 year old, being like, "I'm gonna be a train conductor." when I
Some
grow
of
up."
my earliest memories are trains. I don't know why. I don't know why, but like had like
man's greatest invention.
okay. Here, actually, yeah. What are some of like your earliest memories that you can remember? What's like the first memory
I'll
you ever formed that
mention-
you can remember?
I have this memory. My mum loves to bring it up to people.
Okay.
I think we were playing one time. Me and my brother were playing with like a wooden train set, very like old style thing. And I don't know what happened, but there was this like there was a.
So you
tunnel.
were into trains. You played train
I was
set.
playing with trains. What do you mean, bro? You were just given trains to play. I was not into them. I was not like mother.
But
give
you
me-
remember it.
You remember it,
You
though.
remember it.
only because
bro.
my mum kept bringing this up for the rest of my life. There was, they had like a wooden tunnel that would go over the train track, and obviously as a kid you're like, "Sugoi, the train disappeared."
Yeah.
and then it came back out. Whoa.
It's like an isekai.
And I think my older brother had knocked my train over.
Yeah.
And so my response was to just grab this wooden tunnel and just slam him in the head with it. And my mum just thought, "Oh my God, what is wrong with this kid? He's so violent." So that was how I got into Doom.
So that's when I didn't. That's when I went past my train phase.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I skipped the train phase, went to
Yeah.
my violent.
Yeah,
phase.
and then also another core memory I have from my young days. I think I was very, very young. I think
Yeah.
I've told this story on Trash Taste. I might have. We have one of those punching bags. Have I told this story? I think I have, right? It's a punching bag filled with like water or sand at the bottom.
Oh yes, and it came back and smacked you in the face.
No,
or something?
no, close. I was punching it as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was punching it and I was like, yeah, punching it goes back up. Yeah. And I'm laughing and my mum screams. It turned out my thumb had bent all the way backwards from me punching it. I think I told this story.
I
Right?
think you told this story.
And I
Yeah.
just have this core memory of me looking at my hand and going like, "Ah!" like a Home Alone fucking skit. And I can't remember how it got back.
What's your earliest memory?
Well, I think I've already said my earliest memory on Trash Taste, which is getting stung in the eye by a bee.
Oh yeah,
That was a core memory, and I'll never forget the pain of that. But
that's just trauma. Bro.
yeah, that's just trauma. But aside from that, like some core memories, that are like the earliest memory are literally to do with trains. It was such a simple joy because there would be a train crossing. Yes, it is very interesting, isn't it?
Go ahead, tell your story about the crossing.
Yeah, there would be like a train crossing on the drive home from like my restaurant to like my house, And I think my dad would purposely, like, I think before I had like real image permanence, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure my dad would like drive around in circles because it just like because I just have this core memory of like being at the crossing, and it's already for some reason I was always at the front of the crossing, and my dad's like, "Ooh, train coming, train," and then it's almost like my neurons were just forming because every time I saw a train, I would go train, train. See it disappear and then just be like, I can't remember what happened afterwards. Like the train, like all my core memory is just seeing a train appear, seeing it disappear. Then I don't remember what came next, you know? But
that's usually how it is.
I remember this happening so many fucking times when I was a kid. So it's almost like just like seeing a train as a kid just fired up neurons in my brains. You know, this is how I gained image
I like
permanence.
to hope there's like a part of Garnt's mind being in his 30s now, just every time he sees a train just in his head, he's just like, train.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe some people just never grew out of that, you know? Maybe
that's what train otakus are,
Yeah,
bro.
that's it. That's
they
it, right?
They are that kid where at the age of 3, they're going, train, train.
Yeah.
At the age of 30, they're going, train, train.
It's like that monkey with like the neuron activation like sign.
Yeah.
That's what happens when they see train. Just like
Yeah.
neurons activating.
You gotta have that thing. Everyone's
Yeah.
gotta have a thing.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
You gotta have a thing.
Thing.
Everyone's gotta have a thing. Like a thing they like.
Yeah, of course they
Oh,
do.
of course,
gotta
it's
have
got
a
a
thing.
hobby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people's trains.
Yeah.
You know, simple
Yeah.
as that. right?
Another core memory I have, I remember the first time I saw a rainbow, actually. I don't know why that was a...
Double rainbow.
Double rainbow.
All the way.
I remember the exact point I saw my first rainbow. And that was, I think, happened right after I saw a train.
It was a train with the rainbow on top. It was magical.
All my earliest core memories revolve
3-year-old
around trains.
My 3-year-old picture perfect moment.
yeah.
I think things set on trains are inherently cool. I
I think so.
Something cool about being on a train.
There is.
Yeah, something, I don't know. As a kid, there's something just fascinating about trains and like fucking ambulances and fire
I know for a
engines.
fact, at least for me, because like where I grew up, we had no fucking trains whatsoever.
Yeah.
Our closest train station was like a 30 to 35 minute drive away, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just the concept of trains to me, just in my local area, was just unheard of.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, as a kid, I got so into trains because
Yeah.
there was that disparity between being in Australia, not ever going on a single fucking train, to going to Japan where every day you were on a train.
Yeah.
So like having a childhood like that for me just made me be like, yeah, trains are sick, bro.
Sugoi.
Exit on the right side will open? Hell yeah, say it again.
Yeah.
Please.
Did you ever like fire engines, fire trucks as a kid?
Just the engine.
Just the engines?
What
Sorry.
the fuck is this episode?
I don't know.
It's like diapers.
I'm shouting them all the time.
I'm just okay.
I'm like, mother, bring me another.
Get me out. Helicopters.
Like, mother, I shattered one, bring me another.
Actually, though, I don't know. I'm just I guess I'm trying to psychoanalyze myself. Be like, why the fuck did so many kids I know, including me, just like fire trucks?
If you like
know?
fire trucks,
Yeah.
90% probably you're bi.
So my experience with a fire truck was when we were, I think, like first or second grade. We had
Yeah.
like a school excursion where
Yeah.
we went to like a fire department
Yeah.
to learn about like fire safety and shit like that. I'm pretty sure most schools go through this shit. But that was the first time like I had seen a fire truck, and they were like, you can hold the hose if you want. And I was just like, I can!
Joe's like, I already got hose.
Yeah, I don't know. As a kid,
Ivor is.
yeah, I don't know. As a kid, a fucking vehicle where that spouts out water, fights
Yeah.
fire, and makes a wee woo wee woo wee woo sound.
Yeah.
Is there anything fucking cooler? Maybe helicopter. I will say, hey, yeah,
Helicopter.
Helicopter.
helicopter. Okay,
I
that's-
remember my sister when she was like 4 years old for a school presentation. She was like,
Yeah.
what do you want to be when you grow up? And she's like, I want to be a fire truck.
not a firefighter.
No, because it was in Japanese, and like firefighter is shoboshi, and fire truck is shobosha. So she accidentally said, I want to be a fire truck. And we all thought like, you fucking idiot.
Maybe you just want to be Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to be that. Whatever that is.
Sir, the Allspark. Have you noticed that in Japan, people like the fire trucks and ambulances are way too polite?
Wait, how so?
like,
Because they're like over the intercom, they
they're
signal
like,
you.
I'm Simasen, can you?
And they're like, torimasu,
And like,
torimasu.
yeah, like they're really slow about it. In America, I feel like they're like balls to the wall, get the fuck out
They're
of
like,
it.
if you get hit, it's your fault.
Same in the UK, I feel like people are way too slow to get out of the way here for them. Everyone's very cautious.
I would say so.
I guess that's everything, and we don't want many more.
Well, because I see sometimes how slow some of these like ambulances and fire trucks are, like, you know, cutting through red lights and shit. I'm like, is there really an emergency happening, or did you just want to like get home quickly? Like,
I think it's an emergency, Joey.
like, I can't, because sometimes they're going slower than regular cars on a green light. So I'm like, are you like in a hurry at all, or like is this building just like gone at this point now, and you just like come into the after cleanup? Like, what's going on? Like, I feel like you should be in a little bit more of a hurry, especially ambulances. Oh my god, some of them
they feel so slow.
They're so slow.
Would not want to be in the middle of nowhere. For an ambulance.
I mean, I feel bad when I lived in Thailand and it was like gridlocked
my
traffic, and then I'd hear the ambulance, and I'd be like, rest in peace.
They are long dead.
Like I'm sitting here in traffic, and like people are trying their best to make way for this ambulance, but there are already like 4 lanes in this road, and there are 5 lanes of cars in this road. There is no space for the cars to move.
I think it'd just be quicker for the paramedics to run over, you know? Just like, out of the way!
Honestly, it would definitely be quicker. So cars are moving out the way, but it is still snail's pace.
Yeah.
I've seen fire trucks try to get through traffic in Bangkok as well, and I'm like, that is ashes.
They need to put like bulldozers on the front of them.
Just like slanted ramps.
Just like you're moving. You don't have a choice.
I feel like they'd have a better chance just hiring an army of like motorcycles with like buckets of water than one fire engine to drive through like Bangkok traffic, man.
Just deploy the helicopter, man.
If your car got bulldozed out of the way, everyone would move.
I mean,
Suddenly
they wouldn't have a choice.
They'd start Tetrising cars in the street. They'd be like, guys, park in here. Oh, the L-shaped car? No, we're not going to fit.
Getting out of there.
Completely changing topics though. Have you ever fallen out of love with, let's say, a hobby or something you like because of a fan base? Because
Anime.
just anime as well.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say fallen out of love. I would definitely say like not be as vocal about it.
Okay.
Is probably the more correct way to say it.
I am getting to a breaking point now because motherfucking One Piece fans, man. I don't know
what's happening.
I don't know when this has started to happen because to me, like when I grew up with One Piece was always like the least popular,
Like a sleeper hit.
yeah, the sleeper one out of like Bleach and Naruto.
It was the most chill out of the big
It was,
three.
you know, One Piece fans were like the most chill because everyone was like, "Yo, Naruto, yo, Bleach," and One Piece fans are like, "Yo, we actually
Someone's
have a good
reading
show."
it. Where's
You know, just ignore the art style. Don't worry, it's a really good story. Just get to it. And now, at this current point in time, I feel like One Piece fans are becoming the new Dragon Ball fans.
Ooh.
And by the time this episode is getting released, I am going to hazard a guess that they have fully transformed into the new Dragon Ball fans.
You know why that happened though? Because there's no Naruto and Bleach equivalent to keep them humble.
I think whenever a show hits a level of popularity, it just happens though.
Yeah, I mean, it is a level of popularity, but I feel like they are getting so fucking insufferable now, and I feel like a lot of this is around the. I mean, this is probably the most spoiled fucking thing in any popular media because guys, did you know that Gear 5 exists and it's like the anime of that episode is like coming out soon. I would like to keep it light on spoilers, but I've seen fucking massive exhibits of just like this new Luffy form that they've just built, and I'm just like, are people not even trying anymore?
No, like the anime exhibit thing in Japan, they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
because they assume that everyone who's coming to these exhibits just has caught up on everything. Like I remember first thing we ever talked about in this podcast, episode 1. I remember I was talking about going to the Attack on Titan exhibit.
Yeah.
Right? That feels like a fucking decade ago. But like I remember I went there I'm not a manga reader for Attack on Titan, anime only. Final season hadn't even come out yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's an Attack on Titan exhibit. Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
I got spoiled to shit because they literally show every single, up to the latest chapter in a frame. And I'm just like, well, great. I just got fucking spoiled.
I guess that's like me going to like Van Gogh Museum and be like, fuck, you made another piece? Fuck.
That's like going to the Van Gogh Museum and being like, fuck, he's dead? Fuck. What? He's not alive?
He cut his own ear off?
What the fuck?
That's like me going to the Vinland Saga exhibit and I'm like, what? The wiki spoiled everything? the wiki spoiling what happens to Thorfinn? What's going on?
If people being like, oh, dude, don't spoil Oppenheimer. It's like,
I don't know what happens.
Guys, did you know a bomb explodes at the end of Oppenheimer? Didn't see it.
did you know they made a sequel? It's coming out.
Oppenheimer 2.
No, but like, yeah, like my Twitter has just been like unfucking bearable recently, and a lot of that is just to do with One Piece fans.
They're spoiled.
Huh?
They got too much good shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here being like, I am a One Piece fan. I love One Piece. It's one of my favorite anime series of all time. And now I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to like One Piece. I don't want to be associated with.
It hasn't reached levels of Rick and Morty though, right?
I think it's getting there. I think it's getting there. I literally saw a tweet.
Oh god.
This morning that was literally like it was like part of like the paneling of like Gear 5, and there is like this one panel of something that Luffy does, and it's not like a double page spreader. It's like something in the background that Luffy does in this form, and they're like, this is how this power works. He isn't just doing X, he is literally like adjusting the molecules of his bodies to do this. And I'm like, motherfucking One Piece fan, when they see one panel and they call Oda like God, you know what I mean? Like Luffy taking a fucking shit. This is like foreshadowing to like an arc that came 5 arcs later. I'm like, oh my fucking
Dude, I'm waiting for the One Piece. I'm waiting for the One Piece power scaling videos.
I guess that's what happens though when you have such a long running show with so many rewarding callbacks or mentions of prior information, is that you start to think like he's got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what happened.
I'm sure there's a good chunk of what Oda writes where he just makes it the fuck up on the spot.
Well, that's exactly what happened with like Naruto and Bleach as well.
Yeah.
Like it went on for so long that people just started to come up with these like crazy fan theories that neither of the, creators ever, said was legit.
Yeah.
And then you just have people like shitting all over the fan base because they're just so hyperactive.
Yeah.
And it's just like a never-ending spiral. And now I feel One Piece has gone to that point again because there's no season, at least in the general consensus, that is on par or even above One Piece that is as long-running as One Piece. So now they're just in like an unstoppable mode. They're like,
I also think though as well, we're probably in a time where we see a lot more negativity on social media in general,
of course,
because it's rewarded more right now, like retweet culture. So I think it's probably a mixture of that, like One Piece getting more hype, but then also social media websites rewarding more dunking or controversial takes.
It's all just like, I guess, like sensationalized.
Yeah.
Because like people are just like, by the time this is released, obviously the Gear 5 episode is going to be released.
Spoilers.
But half of my
got time for the goddamn anime.
Huh?
Ain't nobody got time for that anime, bro.
Half the people
It's too
calling
long.
this like half my timeline in terms of like One Piece has just been, this is already the most iconic transformation in anime of all time. Dragon Ball fans are dead. Don't worry, Dragon Ball's time is over. Gear 5 Luffy is better than Super Saiyan Goku. And I'm just like, what? Can you not like something without dunking on something else? Is that just not like is that not like a possibility here?
Yeah, but I mean, Dragon Ball fans were already doing that to their own fan base. When like Super Saiyan Blue came out, everyone was like, yo, this is the pinnacle. Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 3 ain't shit compared to this.
Yeah, I guess I thought One Piece fans were better.
I thought they were more civilized than Dragon Ball fans.
I thought we were more civilized. Motherfuckers just can't like something. Like, did you see like
No, it's probably all the Dragon Ball fans that were like, I'm not going to watch Super anymore. Hey, One Piece, though. And then they just migrated over to the One Piece fandom. It's the same fandom.
Yeah, because I saw like Charlie got like a lot of at least heat on Twitter, which I know is not real heat, but it's Twitter people being Twitter people.
Yeah, for sure.
But it just like blows my mind where he came out to be like, I finally like One Piece. Charlie, Moist Critical, finally likes One Piece. He just doesn't like Luffy.
Okay.
And then a lot of people just absolutely hated him for that, and I'm like,
How could you not like the main character?
And
I
I'm like,
mean, I think for like half, at least a good chunk of the start, Luffy is the worst character.
yeah. I mean, Luffy is.
I mean, he's just like gone. But like, if Gon never grew up.
I think Luffy has his own charms as like a protagonist, but he's not my favorite character in One Piece. But I can understand as a One Piece fan why someone would not would not be the biggest fan of Luffy. You know, I see someone like Charlie being like, I'm finally liking One Piece, and I see that I get excited.
That's a dub.
I'm like, this is a fucking dub.
Yeah, man.
Fuck yeah. You don't like Luffy? Okay, understandable. Have a nice day, but yo,
There's
Water
plenty of
7,
other
Ennis Lobby,
characters.
fuck yeah.
There's plenty of other characters you
Yeah.
can fall in love with, you know?
And then I see like a lot of One Piece fans being like, fuck Charlie. Fuck, he doesn't
He's not
like,
a real One Piece fan.
he doesn't like One Piece the right way. You know, and I'm like, oh,
Like, shut the fuck up,
motherfucker. This
Shut the fuck
this
up.
is pissing me off so
my
much.
God.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one thing that I've noticed, and one thing where, you know, there's been a few instances where I've liked something and the fan base has just made it a lot harder to like it as well.
So are you convinced now, or are you contemplating to say that you're not a One Piece fan anymore? Because of that?
I'm not there yet, because
okay.
I do still really, really fucking like One Piece.
Yeah.
It's still fucking great.
Yeah.
But
But you're not going to be as vocal about it.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking.
That's what happened with me, dog.
It's there was a good 2 seasons of Rick and Morty before you couldn't call yourself a fan of Rick and Morty.
I still enjoy Rick and Morty, even though it's kind of ass. I have fun with it.
It's fine. Do you think the quality's actually gotten worse, or do you think it's purely perception?
Oh, I think it has gone worse.
Right.
But it was so good at its peak that I think that it being worse than that is still a compliment, as its quality is still good.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take that over whatever the fuck Family Guy is. But I also...
Well, yeah, of course.
Because I feel like, I don't know, we don't get a lot of dark humor animated stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes the stuff on Adult Swim is just a little too surreal or a bit weird for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, so maybe it's a little too odd for me. And so it's nice to have something like that. And I feel like it's polished. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay to watch.
One thing I thought about recently was, you know, talking about things that like fell off. Is it just a me thing, or has Pixar kind of fallen off?
I think it's not so much they've fallen off. I think it's just a matter of we just grew up and we're not really hearing about it.
Films
fell
are
off.
less
You think they
good
fell off?
because
Name the best recent film they've made.
Is Coco Pixar? Or is that DreamWorks?
I think
That's Pixar.
That's Pixar, right? That was a good movie.
How many movies do you think they've released after Coco?
I want to guess 2.
I think it's like 4 or 5.
What the fuck? They've fallen off. Confirmed. Never mind. Scratch that.
Can you Google it? Like,
How many have there? Wait, Coco came out 2017, 18, 19, something like that? It was before the pandemic, right?
It was 2017.
What the fuck?
how many films they released? I'm pretty sure they released like a...
How many? How many have they done since Coco to now? I know they did one recently, which was a massive flop.
Dude, well, yeah, I mean, this is like...
Have you
Disney
guys-
has been having flops as well.
Yeah. Because do you remember back in the day when we were growing up, pretty much every Pixar movie just became like a classic. You know? Everyone looks at shit like Toy Story, Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, fucking Ratatouille, Up. You know, there's a reason why they still get memed to this day. It's because they've stayed within our collective consciousness, right? Because that's how important. You know, you can normally tell this is the new way to tell if something is a classic or not. How often does it still get memed years after its release? Breaking Bad, you know?
Sure.
That still gets memed and shit like that. You know, you don't see any Game of Thrones memes anymore. That just shows, you know? But
So wait, how many?
Over 23.
Wait, what?
No way.
Wait, since Coco, there's been 23 Pixar films.
Since 2017, 2018, yeah.
Can you name all of them?
Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, I completely forgot about
Holy
that film.
Can you name all the films they've released?
Turning Red, Elemental, Chow,
Elemental.
A Spark Story, Nona, 20-something, Luca, 22 vs. Earth, Borrowed Soul, Out, Onward, Loop, Wind, Float, Toy Story 4, Kitbull,
that's a Toy Story 4?
Yeah, it sucks.
Smash and Grab, Auntie Edna.
Yeah, they fell off.
Yeah,
The only one I recognized from there was Toy Story 4. And that movie sucked.
Well, I remember.
Okay, yeah, they fell off.
I remember, you know, how hyped.
They released 2 films.
That's what it felt like to me. I was like, it was Toy Story 4 and
maybe
something.
they should have released just
Yeah,
2
maybe.
bangers.
Yeah, maybe
I
they
don't know.
should have done.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened with them because, like I said, a lot of their films to me are classics. I'm trying to figure out when exactly they fell off. Like, what was their
Well, I think
falling off
I think
moment?
it's hard to. They've had a lot more competition, you know, Illumination.
Yeah.
They're crushing it right now.
Is Illumination competition?
They made the Mario movie.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know how fucking profitable the Minions movies were?
I'm not talking about profitability here. I'm talking about the art of filmmaking, Joey.
Oh.
I think
No one fucking cares at that level. Come on. No one's looking at Illumination being like, this is a masterpiece.
Let's be real. The most popular animated piece of media in like the past 10 years is fucking Minions. And
Don't say that to
let's
me.
just be real.
Don't say that to me.
Let's just be real.
Don't
Like,
say that to me.
This is the reality
I
we
remember
live
the
in.
good old days where people looked at Toy Story and Incredibles and Monsters Inc. And those were the peaks that everyone talked about.
Minions, they, for better or worse, they crush. And so they've been doing that. And then
Yeah.
obviously the Mario movie, and now there's the other talks about the Zelda movie or whatever.
Yeah.
And then also DreamWorks is kind of doing okay sometimes. It's the classic DreamWorks formula of one banger movie followed by one dog shit movie. They always do this because they released Puss in Boots, which was have you guys watched it?
No.
Fuck, Puss in Boots is so good.
Yeah, the second one,
It's
right?
insane.
Yeah.
You don't. I don't even watch the first. The second one's so fucking good. It's so you don't need to watch this.
You didn't watch the first one?
Dude,
Do you know how much context you missed out, Connor?
Fuck off.
This is like when John Wick said
no,
yeah. And you
It
missed
is
the
not,
context.
It is not when John Wick said yeah. He got excommunicado, and you wouldn't know that because you didn't watch the fucking movie. He did not get excommunicado. The point is that Puss in Boots 2 was an absolute fucking masterpiece. And then they released Teenage Kraken.
What?
What?
Teenage Kraken.
What? It's just Kraken in a teenage form?
It's shit. Just don't watch it. It's
Okay.
terrible, isn't it?
You know who else I think kind of fell off?
Who?
Ghibli.
Oh, they released their new movie.
Yeah.
They didn't release anything about
They
it except for a
released
poster.
one poster for it, and that was their entire marketing. I've heard it's like good, but I don't fucking know anything about it because they never fucking promote it. And then the last couple of movies before then were just like,
I know it's meh.
Can't fall off if you never fell on.
Yeah. I know this new Ghibli movie is
don't.
I know this.
I'm
new
about to
Ghibli
be that
movie-
One Piece fan.
This is a
How dare you?
meh movie,
Yeah.
and I know it because everyone's like, "Yeah, it's good. It's a little weird."
Yeah.
and that's how you know it's meh because they're saying it's weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I feel
sure.
like
Yeah.
Ghibli always struggles with like, "Hey, Miyazaki, what you trying to talk about?"
Yeah, like
What you trying
to me, if it's just like a Ghibli movie, I'm just like, without Miyazaki, that's how you know.
No,
The
it's got him
Ghibli has.
involved.
Sorry.
It's got him involved with it.
Yeah, he came back out of retirement for the 57th
No.
time.
What I'm saying is,
Oh.
as like a animation studio,
Yeah.
I especially I'm not obviously I've said this before. I've never really been a big fan of Ghibli movies,
Yeah.
but especially Ghibli movies without Miyazaki, holy shit!
No, that's not true. There's a couple of like Yonebayashi films that are actually really, really good.
I mean,
Like when Marnie was there, I fucking cried to that. That was a great film. That was no Miyazaki whatsoever. And then there are some Miyazaki films where I'm like, this is shit. So
yeah, Totoro sucks. I think that's boring as shit.
yeah, but you didn't grow up with it. That's
Or
why.
like, what is this, like the fucking trains of
I watched
the
Spirited
trains
Away.
of movies?
I watched Spirited Away for the first time at
Yeah.
Ludwig's house. It was all right.
How was it? Yeah, it was alright. It was alright, right?
Because like I watched it and I was like, yeah, it's all right. And everyone was like, did you get all the metaphors for all this stuff? I'm like, how the fuck was I supposed to get any of this shit? You know how much weird shit was in that film? Do you know how much weird stuff this
Yeah.
man was huffing something when he made this film?
Nah, just not enough height. Just not enough IQ.
I guess I just didn't understand everything. I didn't understand that I mean, I understood that the pollution was bad because
You didn't watch enough Rick and Morty. Your IQ is not high enough.
fuck. I mean, it's just always so weird, man. It's like, I do find it fascinating, and I'm glad that these movies exist where it's like PG but fucked up. It's like every Ghibli movie is like, yeah, it's just family friendly.
Yeah.
It's family friendly. It's
I don't know. I wouldn't say Princess Mononoke is family friendly.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of the films, like House is like, yeah, it's a fun movie. It's fun. It's
not. It is not.
And because the trailers can easily sell it. It's
yeah.
Hal's got a castle that moves. Oh boy, it's an adventure. And then it's
He's got a talking flame and,
it's like,
a body.
yeah.
A scarecrow.
Yeah.
And they make him breakfast sometimes. And then you get into the second half of the film, it's like war crimes. Oh, okay. All right, guys.
Man is melting in his room. It's
Yeah,
like, this
it's
is a
fucked.
family-friendly movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Why are we going with this?
The fact that Spirited Away exists, and I think it's. I mean, me watching any Ghibli movie.
I like it.
I do
great
like it
movie.
as well. It's kind of like me watching any any Oscar bait kind of like nominated video, nominated film where I'm like critically, I'm like, this is fucking incredible. Personally, like personal attachment, I'm like, you know.
Yeah, I watched. I don't think it was. Maybe it was Oscar bait. It felt like it. 1913. Did you watch that? The war movie. No. Was it 1917? No, 1913.
Is that the one by Christopher Nolan?
No.
Okay,
I don't think so.
That's Dunkirk.
That's Dunkirk.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
You know the one I'm on about? One where they were
Yes,
like,
yes. It's 1917. Yeah,
1917.
yeah.
It's all one shot. And it was just like, I actually think I would prefer it if it wasn't all one shot. And it was kind of weird because you always, I don't know, it felt like a thing that was like, because it also released at peak Oscar season. And it just felt like it was trying to get the like motion picture award for like best cinematography.
Why is that always
It
the
won,
case?
it won like everything.
Yeah.
And
Like, do
it
you think directors like sit in a circle and it's just like, guys, I want to make a movie that is going to get awards. World War II. Okay. I swear to God, every World War II movie is just
It's always war film, human drama. There's no other genres allowed.
Maybe there's a story in World War II we haven't told yet.
Yeah.
I think it's just a lot of people, especially older people, have very strong feelings about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Makes
I
sense.
think people
Makes
either
sense.
are very
Makes sense.
proud or have some kind of, or the heroics of it. I think there's a lot to tap into there that makes for really compelling stories.
Yeah.
There is.
Is it easy to phone it in? Yeah, but it's like, I think to people alive today, there's no other event that is like that big. And
When are we getting the pandemic movie? That's what I want.
well, that's not going to be good though, is it? It's going to be shit.
Oh, what if it's done in one cut?
But I'll be like, no,
Win
because
an
it'll turn into a political thing. I think like World War II is not a political. Well, I guess for
It's
some.
pretty. I don't know, man. It's pretty fucking political.
In terms of-
hold up a second.
In
there,
terms of
Connor.
like, in terms of like
It's a
the
bunch of people fighting, isn't it?
well, no. Like, if you come from America, you're generally on. You're all on the same side of thought that it was, we won, good job, us, well done, pat on the back. What I'm trying to say is like pandemic, they'd be like, the Republicans would be like, no, the Democrats, no, like, obviously, when I meant to say not,
Yeah.
you didn't let me fucking finish my point, so obviously it sounded stupid.
I knew what your point was, but just out of context. I get what you're trying to say, but out of context.
All movies are political.
Just saying, possibly like one of the biggest wars in all of human history.
No, I mean, it was
not political.
That
in terms of like
encapsulated most of the countries in the world was not political.
The modern day outlook of looking at the war is not a very controversial political take.
Right.
It's like,
It's more like a yay us.
yay, we
yeah,
won.
Yeah.
We beat the bad guys. Let's celebrate. Let's make 15 movies about Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, but that's why a lot of the really interesting movies are ones that look taken on the perspective of maybe other sides, or maybe ones that are set in really interesting periods during the war.
Yeah,
I think
well,
there's some fascinating stuff.
Well, it's also like the interesting debate of, you look at something like World War and you say it's like not political and stuff like that.
Well, not how we.
No. In like the modern lens, I get what
Yeah.
you're trying to say, but I guess the older I've gotten, the more I've kind of realized that the way that history was taught in school is very, very different depending on which side you're on and which country you were born in, right? Politics and the way we look back as history is written by, or whoever like tells it, whoever's.
Well, as the saying goes, history is written by the victor.
Yeah, history is written by the victors.
Well, that's
you
why,
know?
like, for example, one war film, or I guess a set of war films that I always thought was like kind of underappreciated was the Clint Eastwood war film, where he made two different movies from two different sides. So like the Japanese one was the Letters to Iwo Jima film,
Yeah.
and then the English one was All Quiet on the Western Front, I think. It's one of
All
those.
Quiet on the
films.
Western Front. No, that's
That's
World
a
War
different
I.
one. It's what the fuck was it? It was the other one told from the perspective of the American side of things. But like, I feel though that was really cool because it's like you got separate films that specifically, shone a light on both sides of the war. And then after you realize you watch those two films, it's like, oh, no one was the winner. Everyone got fucked up. Everyone was the culprit. And like, I feel war movies need to do that a little bit more, just so it's like, it's not just a fucking like rat race of like, yeah, our country won, let's go America type of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I meant by the political aspect.
Yeah,
The good versus bad narrative is very easy to sell.
Yes,
it
absolutely.
is very easy to
But
sell.
obviously there's a lot more to it.
More
Yeah,
nuance,
for sure.
not just in like movies, but just in the way history is told and taught, because history is never unbiased. And the more I grow up, the more I realize that actually
What?
that just reminds me. So when I first started dating Sydney, right?
Oh God, I know the quote.
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say.
Because
I fucking grilled her about this for ages.
Wait, what? What is it?
So when I first started dating Sydney, we were having like this, I can't remember what the debate was, but it was something to do with wars.
Okay.
And then Sydney just goes, yeah, America's never lost a war. And I'm like, I mean, what do you think of the Vietnam War? And she's like, oh no, we won that.
I wonder if that is like Sydney was taught that, or maybe Sydney just took away that from her lessons.
No, like according to her, and I the more I've talked to Americans, especially people and kids who did not grow in like the Vietnam War era. At least the conversations I've had in Wisconsin, that is definitely a very much.
How many times is it coming up?
Okay, because I at first I thought this was a Sydney thing. I'm like,
She rest her family.
yeah. So I asked like a lot of her families and friends when we get drunk. I'm like, so random question, who won the Vietnam War? They're like, us. And everyone's like, we won it. We killed more people. America, yeah, freedom, baby. And I'm like, so wait. So you're telling me that you came to a country for a certain purpose. You lost so many people because, you lost so many people, and you're like, it's not worth this anymore. Let's retreat. And they're like, all right, it was a draw. It's just like,
Yo, we fucking clapped it. Like,
but do you know how many people we killed? And I'm like, oh,
we're our KD ratio was higher.
Half of them fucking civilians.
Also, is Sydney aware that America had a civil war? Where they also kind of lost in
lost
some
each other.
respect. They lost each other.
So I mean, obviously,
I mean, you can frame, like, you could take any statistical point and be like, well, they won. Like, because I think in World War II, like on average, like a German soldier would end up killing more people than any other soldier.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad. So you could be like, yeah, the German soldiers are the best. They won.
Yeah.
They killed more people. You know, like I think.
Like, it's not a fucking Call of Duty log.
Yeah.
Why are we comparing KD ratios? Like,
Well, they do. Like, but like also there's like a meme where like obviously there's like a common meme where it's like France surrenders, haha. But I think like pre World War I and II, I think of like battles because of Napoleon, France had like the most wins to losses of any country in battles.
Yeah, but
It was, like,
but
crazy.
like I doubt the French,
Okay.
when they look back on like, when we surrendered, they're not like, oh, we didn't surrender. We were actually the bigger man. Like we stepped down for the man. So technically we won.
But like also, it's easy to laugh at haha funny America thinking they win everything. But like we live in the one country where they're going to talk shit about a lot of the bad history.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's very questionable. I think a lot of the times what history is taught and what isn't. But then also it's like, I guess the other argument would be like, what purpose does it have to teach that? And I think a lot of the main argument is that you need to be taught this stuff to learn from it.
Yes, of course.
You need to
so that history
learn
doesn't
from it.
repeat.
Yeah.
If you or your country did fucked up things, you should learn about it. Like I think in the UK
absolutely.
we should learn more about how maybe we didn't have the best effect on everywhere we went to. Because we weren't taught any of that shit. We were just like, look at the map of all the colonies. Aren't they great? We did such good work. Now don't worry about what happened to them in modern day times.
Genuine like question. At what age did you start to like realize? Because I wasn't taught all of this stuff in school. Where, I had known that the British colonies were fucking massive. Didn't know why the British Museum had all of like the artifacts from all over the world that were never returned. You know, that was just something that was just not taught in school about. Like,
Well, I remember we were
They
learning.
just spawned there.
yeah. It's just like, the countries must love our kingdom so much. That's why
They are gifting us all of these things.
Yeah, that's why they're gifting us all of these things, and we're just putting it on display, and that's just a part of history,
Well,
man.
I remember we were in school, and 'cause I took history at A level.
Yeah.
I love history. I've always been really fascinated by history. And we were learning about how the UK was trying to have influence on China and was trying to take over, and obviously in China way back when they got Hong Kong and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And China was refusing to buy any more opium from
The
British.
Opium Wars.
Yeah. And they were like, "Well, we took over India. We got all these poppy seeds. We got to sell it." And so they just started smuggling it in and getting people hooked on opium. And in my head, I was like 16 at this time. I was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound like something the good guys would do." I was like, not to be that guy, but I don't remember Superman drugging half a country just to move some product. That sounds like some Breaking Bad-esque shit that the bad guys would do. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Hear me out. And then they were like, yes, they sailed these steamboats up that could just destroy everything, and the Chinese army could only just push barges on fire in the hopes they would hit them. I was like, sounds a bit unfair. It just seemed like, I was like, maybe there's more to this history thing. I think that started like, we'd go to history class and I would go home and just research more. Because Wikipedia would just tell you the facts straight up. Be like, I mean, whatever was sourced. So it wasn't always accurate, but it would close enough tell you what was done. You're like, well, this stuff seems really sketchy the British did. It's like, they built railroads in these impoverished countries. Wow, good.
Oh, that's good.
They built only railroads to mines and not any useful ones people can actually use, and they're all fucked and they can't be maintained, and they left. And they left it so fast that it started the Civil War, and there's been war there for 50 years. You're like, we didn't do a good job. We just did the wrong thing. Or how we British, Johnny Harris made a fucking 9 billion videos about maps and British war, and they would just draw random lines of maps that would cause wars that are still going on today. Because we were so smart. Yeah. And it's like, well, we definitely caused so many goddamn problems.
Yeah, I mean...
And then you skipped out of it and you were like, we've never lost a war.
I think it's a good thing that the internet exists now, because I didn't really reach my consciousness before like the internet, because...
In our age. Because now there's like so much misinformation that you can read about everything.
Yeah,
That's true.
Well, yeah, because like the fact that people, I mean, not to, could have... that it's very common now. People just believe that certain very, very major historical events didn't happen, and that they can believe that is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
And so telling of the power of information on the internet and how disinformation and misinformation can be so dangerous.
Yeah, I feel like with the way the internet works now, with all freedom of information and everything, it's kind of like, it feels like we got like the monkey paw wish. It's like, you want access to all the information in the world? That sounds amazing. All the information in human history, everyone's gonna get smarter.
But all of it's wrong.
I think some of my, like, you really like, I'd say like modern history, right?
Yeah, I like modern history.
Because I'm like really into like ancient history.
Yeah, I remember.
Like I honestly, like, when I got into, like, I guess one of like the periods I think is most interesting is like Chinese history, actually.
Yeah.
And like Roman history and like, ancient Greece and stuff like that.
Well, those are cool because there's like literal thousands of years that you can trace back on.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So much happened. Like
Roman history is like Emperor Chadius Maximus threw games and defeated the Persians, and then like Chinese history.
God,
is,
I wish those Chinese.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like that,
Please tell me there's a Chinese Maximus.
And then like Chinese history is just so.
My firstborn son.
Chinese history is like so weird because it's like the amount of times that China has just been broken up as like a fucking country. It's just like, oh, there was a minor dispute about the farmland. somewhere in China. 70 trillion people died in this war. Also, the war lasted 500 years. I'm like, what the fuck was going on?
And then they all came back together and held hands.
And then they came back together for 1 year, and then it broke up again. And I'm like, what the fuck is going
Make up your
on?
mind, bro.
Yeah. It's history. I feel like I've only gotten more interested in history as I've grown older. I don't know if this is an age thing, because personally,
You realize the most interesting shit that you can conceive of is just all in real life when it's happened at one point, or crazy stories or crazy things people have done.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like, oh my God, a real fucking person did that.
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling, because I feel like a problem is it's just how boring history is in school. I don't know. I thought it was taught in a very, very boring way.
Yeah, I
in
thought
school.
it was mad boring.
Yeah, like I don't feel like.
I don't know. For me, I always found it interesting because I found it like it's like looking into another world, but a world that happened and existed and it's gone.
Did you have a good history teacher though?
I think it was okay.
Yeah.
I think I was just so fascinated in the thought of being able to tap into this knowledge of periods that have gone and learn
That's
all
how you know
about
he's
them.
a true history fan.
Yeah, I just thought that was so like even learning about like 1950s America felt like so alien to where we were in the 2000s that it was like, what the fuck? I can't imagine like this time and this place existing.
Yeah.
And learning about that, I thought was so cool as a kid.
Yeah, so I think to me the reason I really enjoy ancient history as opposed to like more like modern history is because, you know, I never really found World War II or like kind of like the 1800s that interesting, just because it felt more tangible than like ancient history.
Like it's closer to our proximity.
yeah, because
right?
like you still see, like, I don't know if they're like when the last World War II veteran is going to be around for, but you know, when I was growing up, there were still like many war veterans and stuff like that, so it still felt like a tangible thing. And I don't know why. Maybe it's the escapism part of my mind where I'm like, oh, ancient history, that's a fake thing. That didn't really happen.
You're treating it like an isekai.
I just think about how fucked up these dudes must have been, especially dudes, because you forget about it, right? I think we always think about World War I and World War II as such separate things.
Yeah.
There's like 30, 20 years in between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a good amount of people who served in both.
Yeah.
How fucked in the head would you be after going through that?
Yeah.
Imagine going through it once and then you're like, guys, we got to do it again. You're like, what?
They're just sitting there all calmly being like, oh, finally, it was worth it to come back. And like, there's a sequel?
Yeah.
What?
There's another one?
Especially like the horrors of like World War I and the conditions and stuff.
Oh
Because
my
obviously
God,
back then,
yeah.
like, you know, a lot of big advancements were made in medicine in those like 20, 30 years
Yeah.
between the two wars.
And also weapons, you know.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, some of the shit in like World War I was barbaric. Like chlorine gas and stuff like that. Like imagine, oh my God.
I mean, even when you look at like the Vietnam War as well, like just some of the shit that some of, you know, the sides were doing to each other was just like, I can't believe this was in proximity not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, and it's so easy to think of
Like
those.
this happened when our parents were alive.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so easy to think of those events as like contained things where it's like a match almost, where it's like that was the game, you know. And then but those people, you know, how it's so fascinating to look into how these people just functioned in society.
Yeah.
After there's no war.
Yeah.
Like how do you tell someone who's like 50 years old, who's maybe like 60 years old, who's been in World War I and II? How are you like, hey, so yeah, just live normally now. Like how do you do that? And so like learning in the history of that and like reading accounts of that, I think is just so fascinating and so cool. Because it's just like we live in an age where, and the reason why I like kind of modern history so much is the level of documentation and different sides you can get. It makes you think like how maybe ancient history or older history must have been so biased by like one source.
Yeah.
Because you get so many different sources nowadays.
You know, it makes me like, I've always found it interesting how, you know, you think of some of the most well-known figures in some of their fields. Like it's so weird to me to think that, you know, fucking there was a time when Aristotle and Plato were just like hanging out and shit like that, because like to me they feel like fictional characters, or just like, you know,
like
Picasso,
legends, right?
like you know, everyone in the fucking Renaissance and shit like that, or even just like famous artists like Picasso and shit like that, you know.
Well, yeah, you look at like, you know, some of the most like famous Renaissance paintings in the world, and you just like look at it and you're like, how did one person make that? Like that is That is unheard of. Like that's insane. No wonder they're famous.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Like think about all the shit like Leonardo da Vinci did.
Yeah.
Not just like his paintings, but
Like all of his inventions and sketches
like
and shit.
didn't he like invent the helicopter?
Yeah.
Even before or
He
something?
was like one of the first people to like
Yeah.
come up with the concept of it.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah,
was,
well,
it's
it
not
didn't
good.
work, but it was a foundation. It was a foundation.
It was not good, to say the least.
But one of my favorite historical people. I don't know if I've ever talked about
Is
this
it
on Trash
Chadius
Takes.
Maximus?
I wish it was Chadius Maximus. His name should be Chadius Maximus,
Yeah.
but it was like he was like a philosopher, Diogenes.
Okay.
Or is it Diogenes? I don't know how you
I think
pronounce
it was
it.
Diogenes.
Sorry?
It was Diogenes.
I think it might. Okay,
never heard of this guy.
Diogenes. Yeah, so you know Aristotle, you know Plato as like famous philosophers. Not many people know about Diogenes, but I feel like he's often called the father of cynicism. And just reading accounts about all of the shit that he got up to, it feels like he was the world's very first troll, right? Okay, so
Okay.
so one of the things he did. So Plato. Fucking famous philosopher nowadays. His name is in history, every history book out there.
Yeah.
So he was apparently having a lecture, and they were trying to define what is a human, right? What makes a human? And Plato at the time, I believe, called humans featherless bipeds, right?
Okay.
Which kind of like, yeah, we're featherless and we're on two legs.
2 legs, yeah.
So Diogenes was just like, I got a great idea. So what he does is he takes the chicken, plucks all the feathers out, walks into Plato's lecture, plops the chicken on the table, and he goes, "Behold, man." And I'm just like, I like, you read accounts of all this shit, and I'm just like, this shit happened. We look at ancient Greece and like, you know, all of this time where they fathered philosophy and all this shit, but I'm just wondering how much troll shit actually came down.
Well, I mean,
actually
you know,
went down.
in order for all of these like amazing philosophical ideas to actually,
Yeah.
you know, keep their ground to the point where it was taught for thousands of years afterwards in history books.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they went through a ton of trial and error. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm sure like for every great idea, there was probably like, you know, Aristotle on a bad day being like, so does shit actually smell bad, or is that just like our perception as humans? Let's discuss. It's like, no, scrap that from the history book. This is bullshit. Let's get to the actual good shit, right? So like, I can see why there would have been philosophers out there like Diogenes to just be like, yeah, let me just like limit test this like ridiculous idea that is philosophy.
Yeah.
And like see if it actually holds any ground. And I think it's because of people like that, you know, Plato and Aristotle were like, yeah, what we said was legit. Yeah. We got this fucker right here trying to like prove us wrong.
Do you know one of my favorite memes I've seen recently? It's like, I don't know if this is real or not, or if this is edited. Generally can't tell, but it's like the Oppenheimer trailer being shown, and then just people cheering at Albert Einstein like he's part of the Avengers or some shit.
What the fuck?
It's like, I know that face.
like, have you seen like the like cinemas react to like Avengers Endgame or some shit like that, where, you know, you have moments and then fucking you see Captain America pick up the hammer and everyone's like, yo!
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if this is me, but it's like a shitty cam rip of, I'm not sure if it's the Oppenheimer trailer, but it's like a really, really serious trailer, and then Albert Einstein comes on screen and everyone's like, yeah, it's the GOAT! It's the GOAT!
That's my boy.
I saw funny memes of people in the front row at the movie. And
Oh,
then
at the
it's like-
IMAX?
It's like the faces are all fucked up.
It's like,
Why do they even bother selling tickets in the front row? They should not be allowed to sell those tickets to
my
IMAX front row
God.
tickets. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I fucking despise sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
I remember I remember distinctly the first movie I watched where I sat in the front row because all other tickets were sold out, and it was Star Wars Episode 3. And I'm like, maybe this will be a good experience. And so the movie starts, and the first thing I hear is, "Da, da, da, da," and I'm like, fuck it. I immediately regretted life. I'm like, my eardrums were fucking destroyed. Sorry, if I destroyed your ears, but
Also,
that's
not
what
to
I felt.
mention, like, if you're in the front row, it doesn't even have to be an IMAX screen. Your neck's like this.
Yeah.
The whole time. And so after you finish the movie, your first thing isn't like, wow, that was a great film, and like talking to your friends about it. It's you just going, oh,
Yeah.
fuck. that was not worth sitting at 2 hours to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a fucking chiropractor
Yeah.
after you finish watching a movie like that.
Yeah, they should not be allowed to sell those tickets.
No.
I don't know why.
I haven't been sold in IMAX. I don't know why.
I still can't tell the difference.
Of what?
IMAX to a normal cinema.
Well, IMAX is big.
Yeah, it's like, but there's like no fucking difference. It's just big.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
genuinely can't. Maybe
It's too big.
And I said this once in an episode, and it all comes like, how can you not tell the difference? I'm like, I genuinely, it does not change anything.
Yeah, like every movie I've watched in IMAX makes me uncomfortable because the screen is so big. I always feel like I'm missing something.
It's huge.
I know it's designed to be like, this is going to fit your peripheral vision. And I'm like, there is so much information my brain is trying to take in right now. I don't think I can process everything that's like happening.
I can't. I don't have the brain capacity to care about my peripheral vision right now. I've got this shit right in front of me to deal with.
Yeah. But it's all about the immersion, the immersion.
And just go to a 4D movie at that point.
Yeah.
That's more immersive.
Do you think VR movies can ever exist? Or
Yeah, I mean, they
something?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a crap viewing experience.
Yeah.
I think ultimately your eyes just like being far away from the screen.
Because I've tried watching movies through like my VR goggle or like YouTube videos and stuff like that through my VR goggle.
Why?
And it does just because I was curious to see if there was a difference. And I tried it out and I'm like, this is shit. Like I almost prefer it if it was further away. And then I was like, oh, that's what cinemas are for. I finally understood at that point.
Well, that's why
like,
everyone wants a bigger TV, but they want to sit further away.
further
from
away. Yeah, exactly.
in their house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like it there. I guess that's like the invisible fourth wall, but I like having a distance between the story being told and what I'm being presented.
Yeah,
Because I always feel like it's kind of like you're tricking your brain into getting immersed in this world, but not too much. There's like a safety net to there, Like I couldn't imagine. That's why I don't think I could ever play VR horror games. I mean, I hate horror games already, but I cannot. I think I'd literally go through a heart attack if I played something like Resident Evil in VR. Holy shit, that sounds terrifying.
I get a heart attack playing Resident Evil regularly.
Yeah, exactly,
Let
right?
alone VR.
Exactly.
Fuck that shit. Yeah.
Like I'd probably be that guy jumping into like the television screen that you see in like every grandpa tries VR for the first time video. That's
Just to escape.
yeah. Like I know it's fake, but yeah, even in just in horror, I'm a fucking pussy. I don't know how people can enjoy horror movies.
I second that. I second that. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. But it's weird because I like here's the thing. I really, really like immersion. Immersion is like so important. Immersion is one of the most important aspects for me when it comes to video games and movies. That's why I like something like Final Fantasy 16 with a fully fleshed out world and characters that I can just immerse myself in the world. To me, that is almost as enjoyable as the story being told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? Is that like, I'm right there with you on that. Totally agree. But like, I feel that's a different kind of immersion. Like what you just described was an emotional immersion.
Yeah.
Of being like, I am part of this world. Whereas like VR games and VR movies or like 4D movies, they try and bring on a physical immersion.
Yeah.
Which I feel has still a long ways to go just because it's doesn't really work for a lot of people, or it's not necessarily something people want to be involved in.
It'll have its avatar moment.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think like if they come up with like a VR film or game or whatever where it's like there is also that emotional immersion thrown into it, then I think it'll be a lot easier to actually get physically involved in whatever it is. But as of right now, there's very few games that do that, and the ones that do are horror games like Resident Evil, which I'm like, no, thank you, dog. I'm good.
For fuck's sake, the only genre that is really, really, really fucking good in VR for immersion is horror games.
Yeah, which is the one I don't play.
which is the one game that I don't want to
So it's like,
play.
great.
I played some okay horror games on VR. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Kind of terrifying.
Were you emotionally immersed into it though?
I don't know what the story was.
So no.
No, but it's just terrifying.
So no.
You're in like a mansion and there's ghosts and shit. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh.
But that's the problem, right? Is that like all these like physically immersive games, they don't give you the space to be emotionally immersive into it. Like, okay, I got scared and I had a physical reaction to it because there was a jump scare that was right in my fucking face from my periphery. But at the end of the day, once the credits roll, it's like, well, I don't really much understand or care about what just happened. All I know is that I just got jump scared by something.
Yeah.
Fear and Hunger VR. Let's do it.
Fear and Hunger VR?
Terrifying.
That would be fucking horrifying.
How terrifying is the game by itself? Is it?
It's
I mean,
more creepy than
because what you said is that the way you've described it at least is it's terrifying because of the gameplay aspects to it.
It's fucking terrifying though too. I mean, the enemies chase you down if they lock onto you, and it's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some moments where you're like, oh, that's very disturbing. I think disturbing and graphic is like the two, which I guess makes horror, and I think they both fall under horror.
Yes.
But there's no like jump scares or anything like that, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And I'm not normally into these kind of worlds, but I don't know why. It's been very captivating. And,
Yeah.
I think it's just refreshing, right?
it's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. The world's so interesting as well.
It is.
I never care about.
See, but but again, that's like a great emotional emotion where it's like, oh, I actually care about this world and it feels real.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually experiencing through it and not just like hitting a bunch of buttons to advance the story kind of deal, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I wish there was more things to do with existential horror. I mean, I've talked about my love for Lovecraftian horror a lot, but like existential horror is just my favorite kind of.
It's kind of like that.
Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, it's a bunch of gods and shit. A bunch of weird things you don't know shit about.
Right.
Story about people trying to become like gods and
Yeah.
how that interacts with real gods.
Okay.
It's
sounds
all
like
really weird.
sounds like every Final Fantasy game.
There's a ton of weird fucking Lovecraftian monsters that you're like, what the fuck? And then you're like, oh, this is the god of fertility. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I got it.
I gotta
First person
put-
VR Fear and Hunger.
Yeah, dude, that would be nuts.
That would be.
I'd shit myself.
Yeah.
You're in the fucking like blood cavern, and then this fucking ogre starts chasing you.
Yeah.
I'd shit myself.
Yeah.
Do you
And his
know,
dick's out.
Get on a game
His
design.
dick is out.
do you know one thing I've developed an irrational fear for recently? This is going to sound so stupid out of context.
Go on.
Infinity.
The fuck's wrong with you?
I know what we're going to call this episode now. We have an existential crisis.
Why? What?
Why? Okay.
Okay.
Explain
Okay.
in layman's terms why you are afraid of infinity, Garnt.
I think, okay, so I've talked about getting to like a lot of like videos in terms of like physics and like, I guess
It just sounds like you've watched one too many Vsauce videos.
it's not a Vsauce video. It's actually a documentary I saw that the BBC did like on the concept of infinity because I find it like fascinating personally that infinity as a concept is something that you can explain to like a 5-year-old, you know, but it's when you really think about what it actually means, do you kind of like, the more you think about it, the more you fail to grasp what infinity actually is. Like, what's the biggest number you can think of? Like, what's the biggest number you can
A
think of?
Googleplex.
A Googleplex.
Yeah.
Like, you think of like a Googleplex, which is what's the Kai, what's the exact definition of a
10
Googleplex?
to the power of a Google.
10 to the power of Google. And
Which
what is
a Google is 10 to the power of 100.
Yeah, a Google is 10 to the power of 100. So it's one with 100 zeros on the end, right? So if you think about a Googleplex, right, you cannot even write. If you take the one and put every zero on an atom in a Googleplex, you will run out of space in the entire observable universe before you can even write out a Googleplex.
Yeah.
And that number is a fucking tiny number compared to like infinity.
Yeah.
Right? It is tiny. It's infinity as a concept. If you really, really think about it, you know, the biggest number I can think of off the top of my head, and this is how, you know, I've gone down a rabbit hole, is this concept called tree 3, right? And if you even try to fit tree 3 into the observable universe, if you take the smallest unit of measurement in the observable universe,
Planck distance.
which is the Planck distance, and divide that in the entire space of the universe, you will have to compress, you will have to compress information so densely that you will turn the entire universe into a black hole.
Shit.
And still, that is a tiny fucking number.
Yeah.
And like, the more you think about it, the more you're just like, holy shit, this is...
Well, it's infinite.
Yeah, it's infinite, right? It's easy to say it's infinite, but the more you think about it, the more you're like, holy shit, this is something that you cannot even come close, not even minutely comprehend what infinity actually means. And then I think about it and I'm like, fuck me. That is terrifying. Just to think that humans have invented a concept that can make ourselves feel so insignificant. And yet it's like, and yet a fucking child can understand it.
Wait, so why does the number scare you?
Sorry?
Why does the number scare you?
I think it's the concept that's
It's the concept.
Why does that scare you?
Sorry?
Why does that scare you?
It just like, it just makes you realize it's because it's
no,
like,
no one's going to try and write the number out. Garnt. It's not going to.
Well, they can't.
well, they can't. It's the concept of
I know.
it. It's the concept. It's the like I said. That's kind of like the feeling of existential horror that I love. It's the concept of it, right?
This makes sense because this is probably why you play Genshin. Because those are how many fucking gacha pulls you do.
That is fucking Lovecraftian horror, man.
I know how you feel because I got into that similar. Well, I got into that similar kind of rabbit hole a while back. Where I was like,
what are you guys doing?
well,
in your free time?
because I watch a lot of like math and like physics videos. Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
But I remember like this will blow your mind, Garnt. Think about it like this: there are an infinite amount of numbers, right? Like finite numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
There are the same amount of infinite numbers between 0 and 1.
Yeah. And
Because if you're trying to write out, right, 0 to 1, what's the next number that comes after 0? 0.0000000. It's just an infinite number of zeros, and then somewhere at the end there's a 1.
Not on my calculator.
do you want to know something even more fucking mind blowing?
Are we giving each other infinity facts?
Yeah. We are giving each other infinity facts while Connor loses his mind right now.
Go on.
There are infinities that are bigger than other infinities.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. There's they have like the infinity to the power of 2 infinities.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Which is still infinity.
I'm like, it's gotten to the point where mathematics has evolved to a point where we can give ourselves.
Well, they had to figure out what the odds were of Hunter x Hunter ever being finished.
It's infinity squared, actually.
So they had to make a whole new mathematical concept.
That's a number lower than any number that's ever been written in the fucking universe.
We can wait till the end of the universe until Ashley's like, nah.
I want a fucking horror movie around the concept of infinity. That'll be fucking
That
awesome.
sounds like a really shit M. Night Shyamalan film.
Actually, that would be
That sounds awful, Garnt.
I can see it already. M. Night Shyamalan presents
Infinity.
I'm not funding this movie, Garnt. No one else is.
Housewife finds out that she's infinite a number away from fucking finding a husband and whatever. It's just, I don't know, some bullshit like that. But yeah, anyway, that was Trash Taste Existential Crisis.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
A shorter one. We are going to be getting drunk on the next one, so
expect more existential crises.
expect even wilder talks out of the next one.
Oh my God.
But hey, if you want to support the show, look at all these patrons though. They love infinity.
Yes.
Give us your favorite infinity fact in the comments.
Make it so we have.
On its side.
But hey, if you'd like to support the show, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/trashdays. Also follow us on Twitter, send us memes on the subreddit, and if you head our face, listen to us on Spotify. And we will see you guys
Next time.
Hopefully not an infinite time away.
Oh my God, Joey. Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, bye.
Bye.